Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be doing is, if you have not heard the news over the past couple weeks, Caleb Williams, you know the Caleb Williams for the USC quarterback that's also being projected to be the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft, that Caleb Williams. He's being talked about being this like generational talent. He's going to be the best quarterback to ever come out since like Peyton Manning, probably a better quarterback than all these like great legends. I'm not buying into it, but as we move on, he has come out with a report. I don't know if it's him saying this or his agent saying this. Basically, he's saying that he wants partial ownership in whichever team drafts him. I don't know about you, but this man must have lost his goddamn mind. So what I'm going to do is kind of briefly gonna go through and kind of get the understanding of, number one, why would he do this? Number two, if a team did this, how much would it cost? And kind of how the whole contract works, because we're going to kind of go into that as well. And then number three, kind of which teams are actually in line for being able to draft Caleb Williams, and then if those teams even would possibly think about giving him the opinion or option to do it. So without further ado, if you're going to enjoy, make sure you do drop a like. And without further ado, let's get into it. So let me kind of go through his career real quick. As you all know, he is a great talent. Do I think he's a really good talent? Yes. Do I think he's going to be probably picked #1 overall in the NFL draft next year? Yes. He's having a great season at USC this year. So far, at the time of recording this, it is the game after he just lost to Utah. He currently has about 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Those interceptions have been coming over the past couple weeks, against 3 against Notre Dame. He's most likely going to be a Heisman finalist. He'll be there in New York whenever the Heisman show happens. He won the Heisman last year. This year, he could still win it. He has a chance to be back-to-back Heisman winner, but I'm thinking it's going to probably go to somebody else. But like I said, he will probably be there in New York as a finalist. When I watch him play, he has all the intangibles. He can throw it, he can run it, he can get out of the pocket. I think he can read a defense. Can he read an NFL defense? That's going to be a different story, because college and NFL are two different places. And also, when it comes to Caleb Williams, he's being coached by Lincoln Riley. Don't get me wrong, Lincoln Riley is a good coach, but we've seen a few quarterbacks come off of Lincoln Riley. Baker Mayfield looked okay in Cleveland, hasn't, but now he's with Carolina, LA, Tampa Bay, and he's just been an up-and-down quarterback. Then he went with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, good quarterback in college, good quarterback in the NFL. They started off at 11-0 that year, but now here recently, people were saying that Kyler Murray, even whenever he comes back from his ACL, they don't even want him anymore. Jalen Hurts, I don't really know if I classify as being a Lincoln Riley quarterback, because he was only with him for 1 year. He was mainly developed within Alabama and Nick Saban's system. But if you want to classify Jalen Hurts as being a Lincoln Riley quarterback, you could say that, and he's done well in the NFL. So when you kind of look at all that and understand kind of the foundation of why would a GM be able to look at Caleb Williams and look at the history of Oklahoma quarterbacks, what he's done this season, what he's done in his past, why would they give him ownership? For those who do not know, there's like this whole rule system, kind of like with the CBA of the NFL, of what you can kind of give and what you can kind of do within an NFL contract. I don't know about you, but I don't think ownership is something you can give. Just to kind of give you an idea of how much it would cost to even give him the slightest of percentage of ownership. Let's take the Chicago Bears, for instance, because they're probably going to have the 1 and 2 overall pick, and if they decide to move on from Justin Fields, obviously they'll take Caleb Williams. But I kind of did the math a little bit, and just to give you a general idea, the Chicago Bears are worth an estimated $2.7 billion. Say if they were to take his contract, usually it's like a 4-year, $36 million contract, it's going to be $9 million a year. Say he decided to take about $1 to $2 million of that, he's going to get maybe 0.005% of the ownership. Like, I think people need to understand, when they're saying they're going to give him partial ownership, they're not saying anything like 10%, not 5%, not even 1%. Like a 0.05, 0.005. It's going to be like, yes, is he going to have ownership there? Technically, yes, but it's not going to be anything worthwhile. Now, I kind of have 2 reasons of why I think this could or couldn't work. Number 1, reason why it could work is David Bakhtiari, the tackle for the Green Bay Packers. He tweeted out a little bit recently, basically saying, depends on how desperate his owner is to win. And that was a response to a other Twitter page that basically tweeted out saying, I wonder if it'll actually work for somebody someday. Basically referencing, could Caleb Williams actually get partial ownership of an NFL team? Now, the reason why I'm saying, and this is my answer, I'm saying it will not work, is because if they were going to give him partial ownership, you have to be 1,000, 10,000% certain this is your guy. When you sign him that 4-year contract, you might as well already start be working on your 10, 15-year contract right after that. Because the only reason you give partial ownership of the franchise they're playing for is if you know this is your guy for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And if you go give a guy ownership in your team, and in like 3 years, you already realizing you're looking at this guy and saying like, this guy fucking sucks. Why did we even draft this guy? Then you're basically screwed, because then if he decides to go play for another team in free agency, or you decide to trade him somewhere else, then every time he comes back to play you, technically kind of owns you. Now to kind of wrap it up, the only players in the NFL, well, technically I'm going to say player because there's only one you would give partial ownership to, is the frogman himself, Patrick Mahomes. Because we already know Patrick Mahomes, he's never leaving the Chiefs. He'll be with the Chiefs till he dies. He'll be there for the entirety of his career. He'll retire as a Chief. And for everything he's done for that franchise, always winning, always in AFC title games, 2 Super Bowls, the man is pretty much lives, bleeds, dies by the Chiefs. So if anybody in the league was going to get partial ownership, Patrick Mahomes would be. Now when it comes to Caleb Williams, like I said, if he goes out there and say he can go out there in his first year, he does incredibly well. He puts up Mahomes type numbers. I mean like 40 touchdowns, 45 touchdowns, limits his interceptions to like 5 interceptions, and he goes out there and carries the Bears to like a 13-4 record, 14-3 record, and just sets the league on fire. Maybe the Bears might be able to look at him and say, I might debate giving you that ownership. But if he goes out there and lays an egg and he stinks, you ain't getting jack shit, dude. So to kind of wrap it up, like I said, I don't think he's getting no partial ownership. That ain't gonna fucking happen. But other than that, that's all I gotta talk about for today's video. Hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy it. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you do drop a like. If you have an opinion on kind of how the whole thing's going on with Caleb Williams, and kind of if you think he's gonna get partial ownership, yes or no, leave a comment down below what you kind of think about how everything's gonna turn out. And also if you kind of wanted to drop your opinion on where you think he's gonna be drafted to, if it's gonna be the Bears or somebody else, let me know in the comments. If you wanted to enjoy today's video and you are a fan of the content that I am posting here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And don't forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.